So good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Unity Spiritual Center Denver. I'm David Howard. I am the senior minister here, and it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you, whoever you are, wherever you are in the world. We are so glad that you chose to join us for this part of our Sunday morning, or whenever you happen to be watching this at some point during the week. We welcome you, and we hope one day soon, we're planning someday soon, we will have our doors open again, and we will welcome you into this beautiful, warm, and loving space. And we look forward to that day. So now I would like to invite you to say with me our creed, which is, our God is love, our race is human, our faith is oneness. And so today I have a reading I want to share with you from one of my favorites, Father Richard Rohr. If you've been watching or listening to me, you probably have heard me quote Father Rohr several times, actually. This is from his daily email from Monday, August 31st. And I better get my glasses on so I can actually see this. He says, today, we begin with Thomas Merton's classic description of the true self, as written following his conversion at 4th and Walnut in Louisville. It is so inspired, I want to quote it at length. At the center of our being is a point of nothingness, which is untouched by sin and by illusion, a point of pure truth, a point or spark which belongs entirely to God, which is never at our disposal, from which God disposes of our lives, which is inaccessible to the fantasies of our own mind or the brutalities of our own will. This little point of nothingness and of absolute poverty is the pure glory of God in us. It is, so to speak, God's name written in us, as our poverty, as our indigence, as our dependence, as our birthright. It is like a pure diamond blazing with the invisible light of heaven. It is in everybody. And if we could see it, we would see these billions of points of light coming together in the face and blaze of a sun that would make all the darkness and the cruelty of life vanish completely. I have no program for this seeing. It is only given. But the gate of heaven is everywhere. Most people spend their entire lives living up to the mental self-images of who they think they are, instead of living in the primal I that is already good in God's eyes. But all I can, quote, pay back to God or others or myself is who I really am. This is what Merton is describing above. As Merton says above, our point of nothingness is the pure glory of God in us. If we look at the great religious traditions, we see they all use similar words to point to the same direction. The Franciscan word is poverty. The Carmelite word is nada, or nothingness. The Buddhists speak of emptiness. Jesus speaks of being poor in spirit in his very first beatitude. A Zen master would call the true self the face we had before we were born. Paul would call it who we are in Christ, hidden in God. It is who we are before we've done anything right or anything wrong, before we have a conscious thought about who we are. Thinking creates a separate self, the ego self, the insecure self. The God-given contemplative mind, on the other hand, recognizes the God self, the Christ self, the true self of abundance and deep inner security. I invite us to sing along with Anji as she leads us in surely the presence as we lead into a time of prayer.
Surely the presence of love is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of love is in this place.
And so as we come together, wherever we are in body, we know that we are one in spirit. We know that as we breathe in the very breath of life, that is the breath of the divine, breathing itself as each of us, that we are the breath, the heartbeat of the divine, living itself in its fullness, in this moment, in its uniqueness as each of us. And as we take that conscious breath, we allow our awareness to be filled with that truth. We open ourselves up to the realization of our true self, our higher self, our Christed self, which is the very essence of that which we are. And we know and we trust that self, that Christ self, is always shining forth, always leading us and guiding us to our highest and best good. We celebrate that, and we surrender to that in this moment. We allow that self, that life to come alive in our hearts, in our minds, in our bodies. We are the living expression of that divine love, that divine light in this moment. And as we claim that truth for ourselves, we feel it, we radiate it, we resonate that in every aspect of our being. And we know it for ourselves, and yes, we know it for each other. We know it for everyone who is a part of this spiritual community, and yes, we know it for every human being on the face of the planet, that we are one. And we especially hold those who are on our hearts in our minds who might be experiencing some life challenge, some imbalance, some disharmony, some dis-ease in their lives, knowing that we all experience those things. And so we hold them in our hearts and our minds and we lift them up into the light of this truth, knowing that that divine life within them is untouchable. It is unaffected by anything on the outer. And we hold that truth. We know that truth. And we see that truth shining brightly in and through each life. We know it is intelligent energy, knowing exactly what is needed for the perfect unfolding of each one. We trust it. We know it. We allow it to be, and so it is. Amen.
Some days I forget who I'm supposed to be, and yet there's a voice deep inside. Will I choose to listen, open to what's hidden in every heart, a spark so bright? I am the light, I am the love, I am the faith that never gives up. I hide in the dark, I stumble and fall. I'm a storm of doubt when hope is lost. An ocean and a tiny drop, yeah, that's who I am. Look in the mirror, could it be any clearer? I am more than I seem. I'm not just a number, I am here to discover, called to be everything I can be. I am the light, I am the love, I am the faith that never gives up. I hide in the dark, I stumble and fall. I'm a storm of doubt when hope is lost. An ocean and a tiny drop, yeah, that's who I am. Yeah, that's who I am. I cannot hide one part of the whole. The symphony needs every note. I am the light, I am the love, I am the faith that never gives up. Oh, I am the light, I am the love, I am the faith that never gives up. I hide in the dark, I stumble and fall. I'm a storm of doubt when hope is lost. Oh, I am the light, I am the love, I am the faith that never gives up. I hide in the dark, I stumble and fall. I'm a storm of doubt when hope is lost. An ocean and a tiny drop, yeah, that's who I am. Yeah, that's who I am.
So thank you, Angie, for that beautiful song, and thank you, band. As always, we have such beautiful and wonderful musicians here, Martha and Scott and Nick. And Angie, thank you for sharing your beautiful music with us. If you're not familiar, that is Anji Kat. And if you'd like to know more about her music, go to her website. I think it's angikatmusic.com, but you can look it up if that's not the correct URL. That's the word, URL. So thank you again, Angie, for being here, and we are so blessed by your music. So I'm back. I'm back after a 2-week absence. Thanks to some very generous congregants, I had an opportunity to spend some time in the mountains around Fairplay and Breckenridge for about a week. And it was a wonderful time. It was a wonderful opportunity to get away. So thank you all of you for allowing me that opportunity to do that. I had this idea when I made the plan to go to the mountains that I wanted to spend time in the quiet, meditating and writing and praying and just being in nature. And I really had this idea that I was going to connect with my soul, and that my soul was going to tell me exactly what I needed to be doing. You know, and many of you know that I will be celebrating a birthday in a little under a month. And I know birthdays are just whatever we make them to be. I know that. But there's something in the collective conscious that I've bought into that says something about those birthdays that end in 0 have special meaning. And so now that I'm turning 40, I thought I thought, what a perfect time to get away and go and reconnect. I just love that opportunity to look at what have I done with my life for the first 60 years of my life, actually, and maybe look at what am I going to do with the next 60, right? What am I going to do from here on out? And I really did have this idea that if I go to the mountains and I meditate and I connect with my soul, that I would have this plan. Honestly, I took 5 of those standard size spiral pads, 5, because I thought I was going to get all of this great information. I also took this box of 72 brand new pencils and my sharpener, because I love writing with pencil. I'm old school that way. I like to feel the pencil on the paper. Well, guess what? That didn't happen. I didn't go to the mountain like Moses and come back with tablets with all the rules and the guidelines for how I'm supposed to live my life. But that's okay. It really is okay. Because I did get in touch with my soul. I got in touch with my soul through observing the nature and being quiet and meditating and praying and even exercising and hiking and doing all of those things that are so important to feed and to nurture ourselves and to connect. And I think it's so important. It was important for me. And what I really did get from that time away, that my soul told me, is that you'll know what you need to know when you need to know it. So basically, I was looking for this plan. I wanted it all laid out. I wanted the road map. Anybody else ever have that idea? I want the road map, at least for the next 5 years, if not the next 10 years, right? But what I got was just be present. Just be present for what is happening now. Be present for the energy of life that is moving now. Be present for the way your spirit, your soul is communicating with you through every interaction and every opportunity. And that will lead you to your highest unfolding. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about what I gleaned from that, my soul. I think that we all have this light that I'm calling the soul. Now, I may not be using the word soul in a traditional sense. I know I'm not using the word soul in the way that our co-founder Charles Fillmore would use the word soul, but I believe that our soul really is our unique and wondrous expression of the Christ that is the foundational energy for all creation, indeed all humanity, all creation. I like to see this God energy, this source, this divine life energy lived itself, gave itself, expressed itself as this Christ energy, and that each of us is an expression of that, uniquely an expression of that. And I know in many Eastern traditions, the teaching is that our souls come here to earth to evolve. You know, I certainly don't want to discount that Eastern tradition, but I have this idea that our souls don't come here to evolve. I have the idea that our souls are always connected, always the light, always connected perfectly to this God energy, this Christ energy, and they are always helping us to awaken. That they're helping, that souls come into this dimension, your soul and my soul and Martha's soul and Ken's soul, and we all come into this dimension, in this earthly plane, really to help awaken humanity. That is, I believe, that is our purpose. And it really begins with us individually, to awaken to the glory of God, the Christ of God that each of us is, and to our unique and wonderful expressions of that energy. That it takes all of us, all 7 billion plus of us on the planet today, to fulfill that and to lift the planet. You know, I was remembering in my Baptist tradition that John 3:16 and 17 were key scriptures almost every week. For God so loved the world that God sent His only Son into the world so that the world through Him might be saved. God did not send His Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through Him might be saved, right? So think about that as if God, the source, the divine love and divine life energy, sent you into the world to redeem the world, not to condemn the world, not to judge the world, but so that the world, through you and through me, might be uplifted into its divine expression, that we might bring forth the kingdom of love and peace and justice and good for all people. It's not about my soul evolving or your soul evolving. It's about our souls assisting in the evolution of humanity. Now, I say that's the way I'm perceiving this now, and like our co-founder Charles Fillmore said, I reserve the right to change my mind. He famously said that. But that's the image I'm getting when I meditate and when I connect with my own soul. That's the information that comes to me. And so it's working for me, at least right now. Because I do believe that we do come in for that purpose. But we forget. We forget that that's why we're here. I was reminded of a story. I've shared it with you before, but it's a story, I don't even remember where I heard it first, about some parents who brought a newborn baby home from the hospital. And they had a little boy, about 5-year-old little boy, and he was so excited that his baby sister had come home, to come home from the hospital. And so his parents put his little sister in the crib in the nursery, and they had the baby monitors on. And the little boy said, I want to go in there and see my sister. And they said, okay, we'll take you in there. He said, no, I want to go by myself. I want to talk to her by myself. And they said, oh, well, you know, we don't know what you might be wanting to do here, so we'll keep the baby monitors on, and yeah, you can go in there by yourself. So the little boy walks up to the crib, and he looks at his little sister. The baby just come home from the hospital, and he says, tell me about God, because I'm beginning to forget. And so we remember when we come in, I believe, that we come in with our own personalities, we come in with our own gifts and talents, and we forget. And we forget because it's trained out of us. It's no wonder that we forget, because our culture teaches us that we have to learn how to fit in. We have to learn how to belong. We have to learn how to be acceptable. We have to learn how to contribute to the system, the society that has been created. Our culture teaches us to be more in our heads and to focus more on the intellectual, which there's nothing wrong with that. But we are taught that at the expense of remembering our connection in our hearts, remembering our connection with our souls, with God, remembering our connection with all of creation, that we don't think about, but we feel. And so we're taught to do more thinking and more learning and more studying. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, except when it is at the detriment of us listening to what is deep within us, what is deep within our souls, that longs to be expressed in the world. And I do believe that it truly is that light, that soul within us, that spark, that is always pulsing, impulsing us to something greater, calling us forward, calling us to something that we have yet to really imagine. And yet we learn that it's better to play it safe, or somehow we won't be accepted if we really follow and do what our souls tell us to do, or if we really follow our souls and do what is in alignment with our divine expression, that somehow somebody's not going to like it and we're going to be abandoned, or we're not going to be loved, or whatever that is. We all learn different ways and different reasons to deny our souls. But I think it is so important, well, I don't just think it, I know it. I know it deep within my own being, how important it is for us to truly be in alignment with that divine expression that we are, because the world needs that. How do we get in touch with that? Because I believe that we can. And part of it is just really inquiring about that. What is it? Listening, going within, listening. What is it that inspires me? What do I love? What brings me joy? I love the Howard Thurman quote when he said, "Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go and do that. Because the world needs people who have come alive." And so that's really ringing true for me, and I believe that's true for all of us. That if we are to uplift humanity, if we are to awaken to the truth of us, each of us has the opportunity to truly live in alignment, in harmony with that divine spark that is within us. How do we really connect with that? How do we know? That's a question that I've asked, and I know many people ask. How do I know if what I am wanting to do or what I'm inspired to do is really my soul, my spirit, or is it just my ego desire? And I believe that, again, it's about going into our hearts, getting out of our thinking, getting out of the reasoning, getting out of the I shouldn't or I should or why should I do that or oh, I don't want to do that or whatever goes on in our minds, and truly going into our heart, because that's where that soul lives and abides. I do believe the soul will inform us. A practice that I have engaged in the past and am resuming now is to truly take the opportunity, if you have a question, if something is coming up for you about what to do, where to go, or any question about your life journey, is to go into your soul, close your eyes, take a breath, breathe into your heart space, and invite your awareness of your soul to be present. And then ask, Imagine, say, okay, for example, am I to take this job or that job or no job? And think about that. Take that in. Open up to your soul and imagine taking this particular job. What does that feel like to you? What comes up for you? What do you feel in your body? What sensations arise in you? Do you feel more open? Do you feel more constricted? If you feel constricted, then it's probably not your soul path. If you feel open and excited and eager and more peaceful, then you could probably be assured that it is your path. So it's so important for us to get out of our heads and to really get into our hearts. Follow that light. Follow that path. Does that mean it's going to be easy? No. It doesn't. It doesn't mean that when you follow your soul path that you're just going to have the red carpet rolled out in front of you and all you're going to need to do is walk down that path and you're going to be cheered and greeted and celebrated and everything is going to be rosy and easy. It doesn't mean that at all. I'm sorry to say. Because it means that even when you face challenges, you can know and you can trust that you are on your soul path. Again, going back, asking, connecting, feeling into what is alive in there. I want to share with you something that Joseph Campbell says about following your bliss. And this is from The Hero's Journey, Joseph Campbell on his life and work. He says, I think the best thing I can say is to follow your bliss. If your bliss is just your fun and your excitement, you're on the wrong track. Know where your bliss is. And that involves coming down to a deep place in yourself. Your bliss can guide you to that transcendent mystery because your bliss is the welling up of the energy of the transcendent wisdom within you. When we consider that Campbell defines bliss as the energy of transcendent wisdom within us, we can clearly see that he was encouraging us to follow our soul. That's me, that's not Joseph Campbell. When we can own that, we can see that he's encouraging us to follow. What I'm talking about is that soul longing. This is Joseph Campbell. You follow your bliss, and doors will open where there were no doors before, where you would not have thought there'd be doors, and where there wouldn't be a door for anybody else. There's something about the integrity of a life, and the world moves in and helps. It really does. So that brings us back to the awareness that we all have that within us, that transcendent wisdom of our souls. And our opportunity is to go deep within ourselves and discover it, and to follow it, and to practice faith and trust. Trusting, truly having the faith and trust that our soul is guiding us not only to our highest and best unfolding of our true self, but in doing so is we are assisting in the evolution of human consciousness. And by being true to our soul, we are assisting in bringing forth, doing our part to bring forth the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of peace and love and joy and justice and good for all creation upon the earth. And so, again, take some time this week. I encourage you to take some time this week to truly connect with your soul. Your soul is not going to, it's that still small voice. It's not going to assert itself. It's not going to come up and shake you and say, "Wake up! Listen to me!" It takes our willingness to go in, to connect, and to listen. And so I invite you this week to listen. Take some time to be quiet. If you can, go out in nature, hug a tree, walk barefoot in the grass, let the sun shine on your face, listen to the birds singing, watch the squirrels playing, watch the bunnies, whatever it is that helps you to get into that place of peace and calm and connection. And listen for that still small voice within you that is leading you, guiding you, always to the highest and best good. And so I invite you now, if it's comfortable for you, to close your eyes and take a deep breath. And as you breathe in, I invite you to allow the breath to draw your awareness into your heart. First of all, allowing yourself to feel your physical heart, the beat of your physical heart. Feeling the impulse of life. Life that is beating your heart. Life that is animating these bodies. And now take another deep breath and allow that breath to draw your awareness even deeper beyond the physical heart into the space of the emotional heart. And just be aware of what's moving, what energy is alive and moving in that space of your emotional heart. Without judgment, without pushing away, without resisting, just being aware. Being aware. Allowing everything to be just as it is. And even take another deep breath and allow that breath to draw your awareness even deeper into the sacred heart. That space, that is no space, but it is an energy field, so to speak, where your soul eternally abides. Your unique spark of God, of the divine life energy, living itself, always impulsing itself, ready for you to say yes, ready for you to awaken and to listen and to follow that inner transcendent wisdom. And if there's a question on your mind, if there's a question that has been in your heart, whatever it is, I invite you now to take that into that space. And just imagine the scenario of what it would be like if the answer was yes. Or if the answer is yes, take that job, or go here, go there. What does that feel like to you? Opening up to the experience of what's moving. Opening. And if it feels constricted, if it feels tight, if it feels heavy, just allow it to be, but chances are that's not what your soul is calling you to do. Take another scenario. Imagine it. Breathe it in. If it feels warm, if it feels peaceful, if it feels open and expansive and free, that's what your soul is here to experience and to share. So listen. Open, allow, welcome, listen to that inner voice. As we take just a minute or so in the silence, just be with that voice, listening deeply. And just breathe that in. Knowing that you can trust that inner guidance. And knowing that as you choose to follow it, doors will open. People will show up. The universe is here to support you in living the truth of your divine expression. All you need to do is take the first step. And know that as you take that step, the next step will be revealed when it is time. And so accept, allow, breathe, rest, trust, have faith. And breathe that all the way down through your body, down through the bottom of your feet, grounding that awareness, grounding this experience. Feel your heart completely open and receptive. Opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. Just take a breath. Feel yourself open, receptive, surrendered, allowing, trusting in that divine life that is living itself in this moment as you. So now it's time when you have the opportunity to support the ministry here at Unity Spiritual Center Denver. There are many ways for you to do that: texting, online, sending in your check. And we do appreciate those of you who continue to support this ministry, even though we're not meeting in person. It shows us that you are committed to this ministry, and we so value and appreciate that. So thank you. Let us say our offertory blessing together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all I receive. I am thankful.
This dusty road leads me to nowhere. Miles and miles of traveling alone. Took a wrong turn somewhere and ended up where I started from. There must be some place better than this, so I'm looking everywhere for a sign. All I have to do is stop and ask directions. Now, just what was it I was trying to find? Take me to the place where the sun shines on smiling faces under blue, blue skies, where my heart is happy and free, living a life of joy and meaning. Oh, that's the reason I'm going back to Eden. Take me back to Eden. Thought I had to leave for. No need to run, just surrender. I'm not searching anymore. Take me to the place where the sun shines on smiling faces under blue, blue skies, where my heart is happy and free, living a life of joy and meaning. Oh, take me to the place where the sun shines on smiling faces under blue, blue skies, where my heart is happy and free, living a life of joy and meaning. Oh, that's the reason I'm going back to Eden. Take me back to Eden. I'm going back to Eden. Oh, yeah.
Again, thank you, Angie, for being here and sharing your beautiful music with us. We do so appreciate you and your gift, and we're so blessed to have you with us again today. I want to remind you, if you haven't already heard about it, that there is a new group starting on September 8th with Trish Morris and Shireen Fink. They are hosting another book study of Debbie Irving's book, Waking Up White and Finding Myself in the Story of Race. If you can go online, there is a registration link there on our website, unitydenver.org. Or if you get our newsletter, there's also a registration link in there, and we welcome your participation in that study group. And so now I invite you to say with me our closing prayer. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and so it is. Amen.
Love can move the world as the moon in the sky moves the sea. Love can cause the wars to cease. Love can move this world to peace. It's a time